11 o'clock, and welcome to the Power Half Hour, everyone. Today we have a very special guest, one of the kindest human beings I've ever met, actually, and happens to be a master of persuasion, a master in sales, and has taken 2,000 listings in his career. And we want to know how he does it. So without further ado, welcome Mr. Richard Duggal from Toronto, Canada.
Great to be here, John, with you and your great community.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So Richard, tell us a little bit more about yourself. I mean, we have, some of us are from the Mike Ferry program, some of us are not. So why don't you give a little bit of a self-introduction, how you got started, how you got to this point here, Richard?
Absolutely. So what happened is I've seen some of the questions and a lot of it is focused on myself. And I'm going to focus on you guys getting content, real NLP. And we're going to get right into it, like things you can use, because I'm about giving value. And but since the spotlight's on me for a few seconds, so basically, I used to be a Mike Ferry coach, and I was the one that was known for skills and prospecting and whatever. In fact, I'm the only agent to ever have my live calls be played on the Superstar Retreat, except for one person that was right behind me, it was like a verbatim. And then, as you know, Matthew used to play my tapes on the productivity schools traveling around. So I'm kind of known for the skills. And I built my business through prospecting. And the good thing is I'm in Toronto, so agents will tell you they've never seen an ad. They've never seen it. Nothing wrong with advertising, by the way.
Yeah.
But I built my business just on the telephone. They've never seen flyers. They've never seen it. They can't find it because I just use a telephone. And because what happened is I'm from England originally. And in England, when you use a telephone, they actually, at least when I was there, they charge you. So, and you get a little book. And it tells you that if the person's 1 mile away, it's this much per second or whatever. And if they're 5 miles away, it's this much. And then it goes beyond. So we had to pay every time we picked up the phone. And when I came to North America, I couldn't believe it. You pick up the phone, it's free. So when I got into real estate, I started to use two phones. And some of us did, I got a double headset made and I'm dialing two, this is before electronic dialers, and I'm dialing two people at once. It was so funny because I'd be dialing one, like I've got my list, I'm dialing, and I'm dialing the other one while it's ringing because it cuts down the time, and it's so funny when you got two people who pick up at the same time. And because we begin the call scripted, when do you plan on moving? They're both answering and they have no idea there's two of them. And usually one drops off anyway. And if they're really good, I'll call them back. But it's through prospecting skills and just a love of the business, love selling.
When was that, Richard, when you first started in real estate, coming from England?
I'm sorry, say that again?
When was that?
Oh, I came here when I was 17. My first job, actually, talking about selling in general, it was a summertime. So, we have the summer off. And I was 17, staying at my sister's house. And I remember looking in a newspaper, and it said 3 units, $350. And that's a long time ago. And that was a lot of money. I go, whoa, $350. So I went downtown up this, big skyscraper. And the next thing you know is they're having is selling encyclopedias. So that's what it was. And you only get it if you sell them. So on road trips in Trenton and Lindsay, these little towns, and they drop you off. We actually stay in a motel. I got dropped off in the morning at 10 o'clock, knocking on doors. And I found I have an ability to get into any door. I had to actually be careful. I never told them my secrets to the guys, but I found I kind of have this thing where I'm always testing things. I guess it's in my nature, seeing what works, what doesn't, reviewing, and then making adaptations. And that's probably why I got so good at, prospecting or whatever. And so that's basically my first taste. And then real estate, and then I just thought, I think someone told me the thought, actually, a relative. He said, if you're going to be selling, if you want to make a lot of money, sell the biggest item you can find. Like sell the big things. And what's bigger than real estate, right? Like you can, a real estate can be a country.
Right.
You can buy Fiji or whatever, like Tony Robbins.
Right.
So, why sell knickknacks and pieces of jewelry, whatever? and like little handbags when you can sell houses and property and land, etc. and countries.
What an opportunity. So when you sold some encyclopedias and you decided
Vacuum
to sell
cleaners.
real estate,
Yeah, yeah. But I
and
sold a
did you?
lot. I've sold encyclopedias, in house, where it was actually a 2-month mortgage payment, and I had to get high school, like
Whoa.
financing usually. Then I sold vacuum cleaners, and that was about 2 months of mortgage payment to pay, those expensive ones. And I sold memberships. I mean, I can go on, but it'll take 30 minutes. I sold gym memberships, but door to door in offices without appointment, selling memberships.
Wow.
Like I've always been proud. I've sold stun guns door to door. Stun guns, like, because when they first came out, no one knew what to do with them, and you can actually just sell them. There was no licensing. So I had guys in the field actually going door to door selling stun guns. Can you believe it?
My
To
goodness.
businesses like secretaries back in the thing. Yeah. And then one day they had a rule. It came in one day and it said it's illegal. You have to be licensed. And luckily I had little inventory. I got lucky.
Good, good. So you when you fell into when you chose real estate sales,
Yeah.
did you fall into NLP first, or was it vice versa, or the other way around?
Well, it was real estate first. And what I realized is I was always a prospector, so I knew to get on the call. And I got a good broker. I got lucky. And all the Italian gentlemen, like a soprano type. Actually, like soprano's dad, like an old guy with it. Yeah, get on the floor, like that. And so he never told us what to say, but I do thank him for that. I thank all my mentors, during the years. And but I never knew what to say. Like I just called, and I had no idea. I just used my instincts. And then somebody told me about this person that goes around. He teaches top agents, and he said, "You got to go." I said, "Last time, my friend, you go." He said, "When?" And by the way, that friend, I recruited him into my office on one of the real estate courses. I was a pretty good recruiter. I've always been a good like that way. Anyway, so he's there, and he said, "There's this guy, with the big hair. He comes around and he's like teaching all the top agents. You know who he was?" And he must have hit my trigger points. He goes, "Everybody goes like, well, they're really well dressed. The men are all well dressed. The women are well dressed. There's BMWs, Mercedes." He's telling me all this stuff. I was, a young guy, right? And all that. I go, whoa. So I went there, and then he introduced me to scripts. And I thought, wow, this is great. Now I know what to say. And it gave even more confidence and more clarity in my calls. And that was the beginning. NLP, what happened is that I don't know exactly the trigger, but there was a couple of things that happened. One of them was I was in a hypnosis show, stage hypnosis. And there's a gentleman called Ravine. And he's one of those stage hypnosis you see like the actor. He's got like, the beard that goes down and the, whatever. And he's all dressed up in that, as if he's going to a wedding or something, that kind of thing, the tuxedo. And he was one of those guys. And what happened is from the stage, and there's a lot of people there, maybe like 500 or something like that. He was pulling people from the audience, and my wife wanted to get up. So that way I know it wasn't fake. And she was actually expecting a baby. And she was, I go, whoa, because you're expecting, right? And I thought, wow, and then I began to realize that if I can have the power of, jumping up and down and doing, whatever they're doing, pretending to be chickens and all that stuff on the stage, you've seen those things. I'm thinking, there's something different than just scripts, as reading scripts. I want to learn that. Like something happened to me, I had to learn it.
So from scripts, we talking about Mike, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
And then so when you got involved with Mike's early on, when did you get exposed to NLP?
It was that, and then I got a book called Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. I used to go to this bookstore, like I like studying, and I remember going to the bookstore. It was a really nice bookstore, like a lot of rare books, and it had that book. And I went to a coffee shop, and I couldn't stop. I think I read half the book, which is a big book.
Oh.
And it was like, whoa, because the power of the mind, oh my goodness. And yeah, that was my first taste. And then he mentioned actually in the book, which he's never mentioned after in any books. I don't know why, but he mentioned who trained him. And so later on, I guess it was a mission in my life, a journey. I had to go train with him, which I did. I got certified with the founders personally for 4 years.
What were their
And it's
names
very
again?
rare. because those guys don't even talk anymore. But I got certified by both individually.
Wow.
And the difference between myself and NLP, people who go to NLP, when you look around, is I'll give you one example because it'll explain everything. I love storytelling. I'm in this, storytelling is something that I never found in the script world, that much, but storytelling, we can talk about the power of that, but I think you already get some kind of understanding of the power of stories. Is that here I am, I'm in this seminar. It was a large one, quite a large one. They're going through the room and they're saying, "Why are you here?" Great question. People said one person was in charge of a prison. He was actually second in charge after the warden, vice warden or whatever. And he wanted to build a better infrastructure management, whatever, like psychological, and leading people on. I'm not sure exactly why. And then there was a head nurse, a therapist, and they came to me and they go, why are you here? And that little cheeky guy, I'm here to make money. And everyone looked at me and I realized I'm a bit different because the only reason I was there is persuasion, selling, closing deals, and getting that signature. Everything I listened to was filtered through that. And it continues to be, because somebody had to do it. And I said, I'm going to be the one that everything they teach, how do I get a contract signed? How do I create compliance? Because that's one thing that a lot of people teach in selling. Like when you go to listing presentation, get rapport. And I think it's overrated. Not that rapport is overrated. In fact, persuasion is not possible without rapport. It has to be within rapport. Otherwise, it's called coercion. And you can make someone do something and say, here's a gun on your head. Give me your wallet. I guess that's one form. That's coercion. But the thing is that I think it's overrated in the sense that you can learn rapport skills pretty easily. You can go to a restaurant and the secretary, in that case, the waitress could have good rapport. But what I teach my people is take control, compliance, seize control. So mine's a bit different. It's like rapport, seize control. And I teach that.
So guys, if you don't know what NLP stands for, is neuro-linguistic programming. So tell us a little bit about how NLP influences persuasion and builds rapport. Can you touch a little bit on that, Richard?
Absolutely, yeah. Ask me anything. So what happens is that when NLP, what we do is that, we should really find out where did it even come from. NLP is based on modeling. So what they did is they said, if we want to be like a dentist or a surgeon or a speaker on the stage or a great salesperson, most strategies are, let's see what they do and let's do what they do. But NLP said, no, let's find out what the best do, because the best seem to do things differently. So they actually went and learned what is happening. So one example is a military pattern. So what they did is they said that how come this military recruiter is getting all these people to sign up? Like when you walk in, that's it. You're wearing a uniform. It's not, I'm exaggerating a bit, but it didn't make sense. His numbers didn't make sense. It's a real story. So the recruiting, let's say that people walk in, at that time they were recruiting a lot for Vietnam. And let's say people come in and there's a 30% chance or 20% chance. They did walk in, so it's higher than the average person in the street. This person, I don't know what the numbers were. He was getting something like 68%. It didn't make any sense. So they thought maybe he's promising stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, like the agents do. They say, oh yeah, we can get you that price, no problem. Right? Who knows what he was doing, right? And they went to see him and they realized he's not. And they were studying him and they realized it's his language patterns. His language patterns were different with people. So that's what we do. We found out what the best do already in terms of persuasion. And then we model it and then we can use it. And we basically, it's a fancy word. And if you look on the dictionary, there's a lot of different, at least on the web, there's so many, there's no real one definition, but I use it just for influence. It's a language of influence.
Yeah, a lot of assumptive language that I learned from Matthew in the past, they probably all came from you, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff it's actually quite fun to learn. So where can we get access to some of this training to have us take more listings in 2021?
But you can go on my website, persuasionmaster.com, and I've got some stuff there, and I'm even doing a free call actually on Friday. is just because I have a call out there right now, and it's me calling somebody, and I thought it was 50, but someone actually counted. It was 87 recorded. But I closed somebody 100 times on the phone on one call.
What? You called them 100
Yeah,
times?
yeah. Because what happened is that, and the reason I even know that, it's actually out there. If you look at me, it's on my YouTube, which I haven't been using. I'm just beginning it, but it's out there. I released it actually this week. So what happened is I'm calling somebody and blah, blah, blah. That's done. So I'm coaching a client, right, from Tennessee, great agent, to 75 deals a year. But he kind of made a confession. He said, Richard, one challenge, I only close people maybe 2 times, 3. I go, you're kidding. And I happened to have that recording. I never took much out, notice of it. And I played the recording just for 2 minutes. Next thing you know, he's sending me the transcript. It's this long of all closes. I was surprised what I said. Like I said things like, I understand. No, I don't want to sell. I said, I understand. I said, what if I'm driving by the home and the buyer points to your home? Can I tell him about it? Like I had closes like that, right? I can just get some closings. It's actually on there. You can hear it. And I'm doing a review of that call on Friday. But, one book is Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. That's a really good foundational book. It's where I started as well.
So he actually talks about NLP in that book, but no other book.
Unlimited. Well, other ones he does is saying thing, but he stopped using that word. He reframed the word, as well. But I knew that there was something there when it came to persuasion, because instead of saying to somebody, John, the market's really good, you say, John, are you aware of how good the market is? That's a reframe, right?
Yeah. So what part of that is NLP? So let's dissect that a little bit.
Yeah, it's an awareness presupposition. Yeah, absolutely, awareness. So let's dissect it. I love doing that. So what happens is if I say, okay, let's look at it from a real perspective, out of NLP, out of training. If you have a stockbroker calling you and saying, come on, time to invest, the market's good. You go, yeah, sure. You're a salesman, right? A real estate agent, the market's good. So right away, right? So you got that. It's your idea implanting it. But when you say, are you aware? It's like a double bind in a sense. It's an awareness presupposition. Because and it doesn't matter their answer, right? If they say, yeah, I heard it's really good, you go, great. But they came to the conclusion, you just asked the question. Right. Number 2, if they say no, and you go, not yet, let me explain. Great, that's why I'm calling. You see, when I say it to you, so feel what it feels like in your body. So, John, the market's really good. The market's really good. Again, now check that up and say, John, are you aware about how good the market is?
Yes, I've heard.
And I built curiosity in you as well.
Yes.
Awareness, aware and realize. Right? Those are really good words. So most sellers in your area are realizing that now's a great time to sell.
Wow.
Realize and aware are really powerful words. Start including it in all your conversations. Like, many agents are realizing that blah, 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 which you could use. Right? Wink, wink.
Right.
Right. Whereas so it's like indirect persuasion. So write this down, join the dots. You want to speak in a way where people join the dots and it's their idea. Does that make sense? So they join, they're creating, and then the other thing is profiling people. Like I learned things from NLP beyond the personality types, which is so powerful, so useful. Yeah. Because I know that it sounds like, well, anyone who knows me, because there's people probably on this call that have seen me prospect and they've seen me actually in my office calling. And it's kind of like I'd walk in the office and I have great people, by the way. During the time, some people, they want to go on their own, whatever, that's fine. But, during the year, so what happened is that they're on the phone and they're on the phone like for 2 hours trying to get a lead. I'll just walk in, sometimes at 10 o'clock or whatever. I'll pick up the phone and make one appointment. I do it all the time. Makes them excited though too. But I wanted that ability just to pick up the phone and set an appointment. And the other thing I conditioned myself through NLP is I can pick up the phone anywhere because I tell my team, look, 2 things. Number 1, you'll never stump me. Ask me any sales question. I'll never hesitate. I'll give you an answer. Like on this call. And I've seen other people, even high people, that when you ask them, they go, oh, I never wanted to be that. I trained myself at that level. And number 2, I'll always call. Like if you need a lead to call, I'll never say no, unless I've got something I'm doing. I'll go 5 minutes. I train myself to always be able to pick up the phone. And I had a client actually from San Francisco and he had a problem prospecting. He's not from our world, right? And he's from a different world where they do like home guarantee, whatever. And he's not used to prospecting. They're an incoming call kind of gentleman. And he had a problem picking up the phone. So I actually did a little hypnosis session for 7 minutes on, was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. And boom, boom. We'll see what happens.
Is hypnosis part of NLP as well?
Hypnosis, yeah, that's actually, a lot of those patterns are from Erickson. Erickson was a clinical hypnotist, and he could just cure people like that, cure phobia. So people used to go like the impossible clip, and he used to use a lot of language patterns. Like that, a lot of NLP is extracted from him because Bandler and Grinder went to visit him. And you know that he doesn't teach people that don't have a medical license. But somehow, but what they did actually, they called him and they used the patterns that he uses by watching some of his tapes on him. And he recognized it. He goes, yeah, these guys are probably badasses. And he let them in, and then they modeled him. And then they copied some of his language patterns too.
So Richard, let me ask you this. What could an agent expect, let's say real estate agent, if they were to be closing, 50% of their listing presentations, if they were to really dive in deep on NLP, what do you expect an agent to increase to in terms of their percentage?
I've got real examples. I got one gentleman, he took 4 listings and he was cutting commission. He came to my office. He came to train with me. I train him in NLP. Around 30 listings at full commission. I think almost every single one. So what happened is that something happened. And then he got out of my fold, you could say, too early. Some people, they leave. It's like a, there's a saying that the butterfly, when it's a caterpillar, if it leaves too early, about the boy, right? The boy sees the butterfly. And the caterpillar, and it's like turning into the butterfly, and he kind of feels sorry for it. It's got all the wax around it, and then he breaks it, lets the wings out. And what happens is the wing's broken.
Oh no!
He can't quite do, because the actual force of it pushing out, which is a really good metaphor for like doing what you have to do. The force itself of the wings trying to be pressed against the wax or whatever it is what built the strength.
Right.
Anyway, so now he's not adding anything but what happened is that's what happened. So yeah, and it's all about knowing what to say. So, and it's about profiling people, like on the phone. And one thing that I've realized, I was watching something recently. I was watching some role players, some really good people, role playing agents. And what I noticed, everyone's going, "Oh, it's great," and it was great. There was no tonality. They just focused on the words, right? Yes, when I come over, blah 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 blah. Blah. But you got to work on the tonality. Like for example, John, if I could sell your home in the next 30 days, would that pose a problem for you? Another one is, if it could sell now, would you sell it?
Intentionally pausing?
Yeah. And even that, would you sell it? It's on that tape.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Tonality controls the conversation. That's where the emotion. So basically, this is a really good segue. I'll pivot into NLP. Here I am at these big conventions, writing things down, thinking I'm smart, because it says emotion, people make decisions because of emotion, justified by logic. Emotion makes people do things, and logic makes them think. So here's me thinking, oh, I'm really smart. My IQ went up. And I go back, and the difference between myself, and I'm sure others like myself, is what do I even mean? So I had to go to NLP to see what that means. So we need to leverage their emotions, their values.
Emotions,
Yeah.
right.
How do you do that? One way is their values. Like I can role play with you. So, because John, as you know, when I went to the events, we had a lot of lunches together. Sitting there, when I saw you, I want to sit with you because you're one of the most charismatic people I've ever seen. And I just want to be with you. I just felt good around you. And so what's important to you about real estate?
Oh, yeah, it's helping people.
Wow. So helping people, what does that do for you?
Satisfaction of seeing people being happy, of achieving their goals in real estate.
Wow. So looking to the future, you helping people, seeing them achieve and you having that experience of them being happy, ultimately, in the future, and making that even a bigger force, bigger influence, beyond possibly what you could imagine. And obviously you're in that direction, helping a lot of people. Ultimately, what will all of that do for you?
It kind of fulfills my purpose, my true purpose, which is, again, just helping people. And that really brings fulfillment to myself and my life. You just NLP'd me. I can't believe it.
So if I want to sell you something, then, right, you're probably going to be a lot more open in the beginning. Like if we could, right? If there was a way where you could connect to more people faster and deeper, and connect with them at a deeper level, and talk to people where you're instantly connecting. And if they'll say, I feel like I know you forever. Can you imagine how much more rapid and deeper that would happen? Like what size of business could happen just from the skills?
Those were the pauses, guys. If you notice the pauses, the intonation, the facial expressions that Richard had when talking to me and asked me what's important about this, what's important about that. Those are all very intentional little nuances, and we should all learn from Richard. Richard, why don't we jump into something fun?
I love it. And actually, it's so fun because for everyone who said it, what happened is I was sent a list of questions, and I don't know if you saw the answer. I go, throw those away. I don't want to talk about myself. I want to talk about what I can give a value for people.
Yes.
And but I'm glad that I mentioned something so they know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But I want people to get value.
Absolutely.
And I want to have fun. So let's go ahead.
Let's do it. Why don't we do an expired role play with you? You be the agent.
Sure. So I'll use Mike's at the beginning. Okay. Okay. And I'll use something similar. So ring a ring. Hi, I'm looking for John.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, John. It's Richard, the local real estate agent. And I remember your property being on the market before. Is it available for sale, please?
No, we've taken it off the market. We couldn't get our price.
I appreciate you taking it off the market. That's great. So when do you think you might put it back? For sure.
Probably in the summertime. You're welcome to give me a call then. I'm definitely switching agents, but just not right now. We're taking a break.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. So you're requesting that I call you back.
Correct.
Is that right? Oh, yeah. Brilliant. I appreciate that. So here we are in the summer. Where are you moving to?
We're actually upsizing from this home.
Upsizing? Oh, good move. Tell me more.
Well, we're expecting, so we kind of have to move.
Expecting. Congratulations. First one, second one?
Second one, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's wonderful. So this is a family move. It's for the children as well, for yourself and the family. Is that right?
This is a family move, yes.
So if you were to, have you picked out the area? Have you seen any properties you like?
We have, yeah, but we couldn't sell this one, so it kind of just went out the door, and we're tired of putting the home on the market and having it not sell.
Absolutely, yeah. It brings up a question. I was actually scratching my head before I saw your listing. I'm looking it up and going like, what do you think stopped it from selling?
Well, I think the agent probably didn't market it as well as he could have.
Oh. So how did you happen to pick the agent that you listed with?
I was a friend.
Oh, a friend. So it's like a social decision then, not a business one.
Yeah, you're right. It was more of a social decision.
Absolutely, yeah. So if the property could have been marketed correctly, like you mentioned, are you saying it would have sold, or probably would have sold?
I think so. I think so.
So if the marketing could take place, then the house would sell.
I would think so. Yeah.
I don't mind doing this. I'll do some research on what the highest retail buyer is willing to pay for your home. And I'll come by, I'll take a look. Right? I'm gonna ask you some questions about the property. And if we feel that we can figure out a price and get you to that property, because it is about the children, right? About the and you've got the second one. Have you got a name for the second child yet?
We actually haven't gotten a name, but
so much to look forward to. Yeah, in that new property, right? In that new property. So wouldn't it be nice for them to be brought up and bought into that new property already established? That'd be beautiful. So what we'll do is I have available this afternoon, or I can come tomorrow. When is your wife home?
I think my wife would need you to come over now.
I'm coming right over. Boom.
Just guys, I don't know if you notice a lot of things in there. Me as an agent, studying this for years and years, there's a couple words that I noticed. Number one is this was a social decision or a business, not a business decision to hire the other agent. And then he went into, this is a family decision. It's about the family. That it right away, it hits my emotions. And then it gets me back to logic when picking the agent. And then I was just so smooth, Richard. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, geez.
We could
Well,
break that down. We could do probably half an hour just breaking that window.
I know. Yeah. We'll jump into Clubhouse tomorrow. I'll ping you again. We'll do some role play there, but it'll be fun. So Richard, how do we follow you on social media? Where do we?
I'm just starting now because I'm just like, I still a prospect, still a real estate agent.
Okay.
And so what happens is I'm just starting now. So if you go to my YouTube, Richard Duggal, and you can follow me on, I have a podcast, by the way. I'm just starting out. It's called Sales Hunter. And the way I designed it, it's just, I thought, it's not an interview. I don't interview people. It's just 4 minutes before you go to work, you can listen to it. There's only about 6 episodes, but I'm going to be building more. But what happens is that sometimes you say, I need to get some motivation or some knowledge, and there's stories in there and stuff, yeah. But it's all about being a sales hunter. And then the other thing is I have a Twitter account, Closing Machine. It's closing_machine. And I post every 3 days my thoughts, and they're all original, they're original thoughts. They're not like copies of Instagram posts about my feeling about selling and closing. And you just look me up. You'll see me anyway. And but yeah, on Friday, the Zoom link is on my Facebook, and maybe you can share it or whatever. But it's free. Just click the button, and it's going to be just an interview, just like this. Like people coming on.
Sounds good. So why don't I'll trouble you because the Facebook Live will end shortly here. I'll just trouble you to put some links at the bottom in the comments section, and so everybody can come and see it on Friday.
One thing I want to leave people with, because I want to make a difference. I love the industry. My children in it. I got a legacy in it. So I want to make sure that they're brought up into a good place. Like the industry is good and it's thriving and it's got great people. But always remember that it's your birthright to be a hunter. You are a sales hunter. Like when you were a caveman, you had to go out and bring something back, right? You had to bring something back to the family. So your birthright, that's who you really are. Look at children. Why? I mean, they'll try to close you out. You're going back to, past McDonald's. I remember my kids, first it's like, can we have it direct? Okay, that didn't work. I'm still driving, right? No, we're not going. Number 2, well, dad's, Bob's dad, he lets him go, right? So guilt, they go to guilt. And then they might go to bribery. Like, if you do that, I'll do my homework. Or it might be like whatever, right? So there's a whole sequence. So you were like that as a child. It's only the school system that try to tame you, but they can't tame you. So reclaim your birthright. You are a hunter. Your job is to go out and get business. And not only to find opportunities, but to create them. Good luck, everybody.
Awesome. Guys, it is our birthright to be hunters. Make it a great day, guys. Thank you so much, Richard, and we'll see you soon, and we'll see you on Friday.
I look forward to it. Thanks, John.
Thank you.